Issue 37. We start out with Sally, Sonic, and Nicole waiting for Uncle Chuck to show up somewhere, and Sally complains that he's late, making me worry that something's happened to him, like he's been kidnapped. At least Nicole isn't used as an omniscient Deus Ex Machina here, as she says unknown instead of magically knowing where Chuck is. Suddenly, Sonic is surprised by Chuck opening a door from below him. What took him so long? By the way, the day Robotropolis fell. It's kind of bad form to make your title such a blatant spoiler. Kind of ruins the surprise. It's annoying that Sonic says he fell for that, and it's not like Chuck intentionally pulled a prank on him. He's not that kind of jerk. Chuck explains that this is his secret spy room where he can monitor Eggman's deeds undetected. I like that he has this. He's being useful, and in an exciting way that's different from the rest of the Freedom Fighters. He invites them in, as I wonder why he waited until just now to introduce them all to this place, and shows them all the TV monitor taking the situation seriously, explaining that there is an indication of massive movements below the surface of the city. An earthquake? Yep, an earthquake. I love that line by Sonic, by the way. And Chuck says that Eggman plans to hover above the city in a spacecraft until the quake will be over, because sadly he predicted it ahead of time. And then he'll land and start rebuilding. I'd ask why he built Robotropolis on earthquake territory, but I'm guessing that place was just the city of King Acorn in the first place, and Robotnik didn't bother to move it. Chuck explains that while Eggman's gone, Robotropolis will be defenseless for a short time, because I guess there will be no dangerous robots there. And that short time will allow Sonic to do pretty much whatever he wants since he's so fast. I just hope Sonic can avoid getting hurt by the earthquake that will be going on while he'll be running through the city. But will he have special earthquake-proof armor? It makes sense that Robotnik is the kind of jerk who doesn't care about the fate of the robots he'll be leaving behind for the quake. But it doesn't make sense that Snively would care about them. Unless he's caring in the sense that they'll be wasting perfectly good death machines. Maybe he's more practical than Eggman is. But considering when he was in charge he tried to use a void teleporter on entire regions of the world and risk destroying it? I guess not. I wonder if Robotnik will get karma for saying this remark. Uncle Chuck shows compassion by explaining that some of the robots Eggman's leaving behind are actually roboticized people and can't just leave them behind. What? So how does he plan to prevent the Robians from attacking him while he's trying to save them? He did prove he can restore Robian's free will by reprogramming Mutsky. But that's a lot of Robians he'll have to knock out all at once for reprogramming. His plan is to try to de-roboticize all of them before it's too late. And Sonic and Sally come with him because they're all worried about each other. Aww. And Sally's being the cautious realist by saying she thinks the plan is insane, which is good for character consistency. Chuck explains that before Eggman had left, he had deactivated all of the technology, and that Chuck could probably activate the de-roboticizer if he could open those locked doors. Come to think of it, why'd Eggman leave the city wide open to an attack like this instead of putting security robots everywhere? One strong enough that Sonic wouldn't be able to just spin dash right through them all. The earthquake starts and opens up a hole for all of them to squeeze through, and Chuck says that he triggered an alarm to send every robot in Mobius to the room to be de-roboticized. Because I guess robots can move at light speed to get here fast, no matter how far away they are, and are able to hear this alarm. Maybe the alarm he set off goes off inside of the robots themselves, so it wouldn't matter how far away they'd be. I like how Sally's smart enough to realize that there couldn't possibly be enough time to transform them all one by one. That's just what I was about to say. But Chuck's logic is that he just wants to free as many of them as he can, hoping that when the roboticizer will explode, it'll create a blanket effect. Hopefully this isn't an absolutely terrible, reckless idea that will get him seriously hurt. It was nice of Sonic to try to protect Sally. And I'm even more impressed with Sally for not complaining about him protecting her. As I expected, Uncle Chuck wasn't de-roboticized yet. But not like I expected, this is because he decided not to jump into the de-roboticizing area because he realized that he's much more valuable to the cause as a robot, and his turn will come later. He can't serve as a spy if he's not a robot anymore. He could have taught Bunny a good lesson about appreciating being a cyborg, although she doesn't seem to give a shit about that yet. By the way, where is Bunny? And Antoine and Rotor and Tails for that matter. Guess they all stayed home. Of course, Chuck's theory worked and he had succeeded at freeing a whole bunch of Robians. Although not nearly as many as the story was hyping, He did say every bot on Mobius after all, but it looks like there's only a small handful in here. Fortunately, after everyone leaves the building during the quake, Rotor shows up to help with a plane to escort everyone to the knothole and complains that there's not enough room on the plane. And Chuck says he'll stay behind because his metallic body makes it harder for him to get hurt, only for Sally to order Chuck to go on the plane because it's too dangerous. Only for her to promptly say that she'll stay behind with Sonic anyways. Isn't Sonic more valuable to preserve, being the hero of the world with Sonic's speed and all? All she's doing by staying behind is getting herself in danger. I mean, Chuck could probably handle all this earthquake stuff. She should have gone in the plane. It's not like she has special powers. Sally hopes that Nicole will be able to plan an escape route for her and Sonic, and just before the fact that she's using Nicole's magic GPS as a Deus Ex Machina can completely siphon the tension out of the scene, Sally gets hurt and knocked out because she was in the middle of a freaking earthquake. It's a miracle this didn't happen to everybody. I felt pretty sorry for her during this, but still, this is why she shouldn't have stayed behind. What was she thinking? As expected, Nicole magically knows the safest way out of Robotropolis, and somehow quantifies their chances of survival. I hate it when computers and stuff in the media do that, because the percentages always look arbitrary. You can't quantify something like that. The catch is that Sonic has to leave Robotropolis in 10 seconds without stopping, which Sonic manages to do in a tense situation by jumping through a hole in a falling tower. Sure, it's convenient that there was a hole there. They make it back to Knothole, and Sally awards Uncle Chuck an award named after her father. I like how there's actual consequences to her being hurt by showing her injured with a cast and stuff. I especially like how she's upbeat enough to be smiling in spite of this, even if it's still hard to watch. And Sonic shows both humility and that he's come to appreciate Nicole as a genuine member of the team, AI or not, by awarding his medal to Nicole because he wouldn't have made it without her. Now I wonder if this will bring an end to the albeit rare character conflict between the two, where the only times he interacted with her directly before this were him bickering with her. Well, it showed up so rarely that's not really a big loss for it to be gone. And I like how Nicole responds in a human way to this. Makes her relatable and stuff. Snively, having returned home with Eggman, asks him what's keeping the Freedom Fighters from attacking the city while it's so vulnerable. And Eggman brags that he anticipated that, and is relying on a satellite to create a force field protecting the city, boasting about how he anticipated them attacking now, but not earlier. Well, to be fair, why would he expect them to want to enter his city during a dangerous earthquake? So it's not really a plot hole. But yeah, he sends a satellite that creates a force field. Two problems with this. One, if satellites can exist just fine in this universe, why hasn't Eggman discovered Knothole from using satellite imagery from above yet? There's plenty of Knothole that's above ground, while not being all shadowy, implying that the buildings would be hidden by the trees. So that's hardly it. And two, why the hell hasn't Eggman surrounded his city with a force field a long time ago, and kept it that way constantly? I can only assume this is because it requires too much energy, resources or something like that, and so we can't have a force field there all the time, but still, he should have done this a lot more. Like, seeing him do this, when he should have done this earlier, just makes him look like a total idiot. Not that I'm really complaining, because I have no respect for Eggman whatsoever. He's so one-dimensional, so I don't really care if he's portrayed as an idiot or not. That's who he is, really. And it ends with his hovercraft getting damaged and crashing because Snively attacked the force field before they actually got inside. Because Snively activated the force field before they actually got inside. Makes sense. Also, the backup story is an intriguing concept that gets utterly wasted because it's all a dream, meaning that the writers are presumably forbidden from actually using it after this. It is funny to have a nightmare that Eggman had put a timed micro thing in her upon her being turned into a cyborg that would have her robot parts start growing and taking over her, and there'd be nothing Rotor would be able to do about it. And after her robot side starts a fight for control by saying that maybe being a robot wouldn't be so bad in a menacing way, and we can tell that's what that is because she panics and is confused afterwards. Bunny does the selfless thing that makes me respect her more and runs away in the middle of the night to try to protect her friends from herself. This is making her pretty relatable. And when she wakes up, she realizes it was all a bad dream. This story does at least serve the purpose of giving us some better insight into Bunny though, as she's probably got a fear that Eggman will use her robot parts against her friend in some way, since her friends constantly fight robots and she's closer to being a robot and thus the enemy than all of them. She's also got a fear of being completely roboticized, which would be even worse for her because she almost experienced it happening. It's not worse for Sally, who literally was roboticized once, because she asked, "Where am I?" after being de-roboticized, proving that she didn't remember any of it to be traumatized by it anyways. But logically, it was obvious it was a dream if you think about it, because there's no reason Eggman would have set a timer on such a device that would have had it take so long to make her fully roboticized. Why wouldn't it have happened right away? The main story was written by Angelo, and it's practically perfect, with Uncle Chuck proving he's a genius once again by making himself useful with a great and daring plan. It's an epic story, with a tense conclusion that was tense even with Nicole in it. And so my biggest complaint about it, aside from, well, I do hate how Sally was going into an earthquake-filled city, but she didn't actually get to do anything. She just got herself hurt. That was a pretty stupid move on her part, just because she was worried about Sonic. So my biggest complaint about it really is the name, because it blatantly spoils what ended up happening when it should have been a surprise. Especially for such a milestone. I'm pretty happy to have reached this issue because it feels like such a huge and significant milestone in the comic for finally having such a big victory for the freedom fighters, with them freeing a whole plane's worth of people from Robotropolis. It's good for stuff like this to happen every once in a while, so you feel like the heroes are actually progressing instead of always having episodic adventures. My only problem is that it feels a little empty, that victory, because I don't know exactly how many people were freed. I only saw a small handful. And it wouldn't be so disappointing if Uncle Chuck hadn't said that every bot on Mobius will be coming, only for them to see only a room full of them show up. It wouldn't have been hard for Sally to mention that we got 60 people freed from Robotnik. Also, Robotropolis is in ruins after this, a satisfying bit of karma for him that makes me wonder if he could have prevented this by earthquake-proofing the place better. And because it's in ruins, and because Sally mentioned that they don't have that much time to de-roboticize people, I can't help but wonder if most of the people in Robotropolis actually died from the earthquake. Because the city was left in ruins. No one could have survived that. They couldn't have possibly known the earthquake was coming ahead of time. This is pretty grim. It's like at the level of chaos destroying the city. And it would have been better if they had made it much more clear what percentage of Robotropolis was freed. Because as it stands, it doesn't really feel like a victory. Knothole is already full of people anyways, so it's not like I'm really going to notice the increase in population. And the second story was written by Rich Koslowski. Oh, a new writer. But there really isn't much to say on it in the summary because it was just a dream, so it was just pointless. In general, I really like this issue. It felt like a pretty epic milestone, although I was expecting a continuation of the billionth ring story, and I don't think it's going to be continued in the issue after this either. I looked at the timeline, I hadn't skipped anything, so maybe the billionth ring story is going to be continued a lot later.